Today I'm super excited because I just moved into a house this past summer, but it was too late in the season to really start any gardening outside other than some small things that I kind of did around the yard. But I have been waiting for a really long time to get into a house where I can finally have a vegetable garden. So I am vegan, and so being able to have produce readily available is important to me, and also to be able to grow my own food is not only going to save me money, but it's also really rewarding to be able to see everything grow and then be able to harvest that and know that that was of my labor. So today I wanted to show you the process of starting seeds. So pretty much all of the vegetables that I'm going to be having in my garden this year, I'm starting from seed. So right now I live in Minnesota and it's a zone 4 area. We're just in about mid-March, soon to be. So now is about the time that I need to start these seeds. Depending on the seed, you want to pay attention to the packets that the seeds come in, because on the back it will give you a lot of great growing tips. And so this will tell you how far in advance from the last frost in your area you should start these seeds. So then when they are ready to be outside, temperatures are warm enough, the plant is a little bit more mature and can withstand some of those early spring elements. And so if you're unsure of when your last frost is, you can simply just go online and find out, type in I live in the Minneapolis area, so typing in when the last frost is in the Minneapolis area, it does give you a rough date. Obviously it's not always 100% accurate because depending on the season, it may be warmer early on in the season, so your last frost happens earlier than that date, but use that as a guidance. And then usually the packets will say, in a lot of instances, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks before your last frost that you want to start your seeds. So hopefully that all made sense. And like I said, I wanted to kind of walk you guys through the seed starting process so that if you're thinking of starting your own seeds, whether it's vegetables, perennials, annual flowers, whatever it might be, this will hopefully help you out. So to get started, you're going to need to gather some supplies. Most importantly, you want to make sure you get a specific soil, so seed starting soil. That soil is going to be a little bit lighter. It won't be as dense as your potting soil or garden soil because seeds need a lot of light, and so in order for the light to get through the soil, it needs to have a specific mixture so that the soil doesn't become compacted. So I am a huge fan of the Espoma brand because they have a lot of great products such as soil, and they also have different products for fertilizers and things to feed your plants, and everything is organic that they make. And so it's really important to me that I use organic products wherever I can, because especially with food that you're going to be consuming, I think it's really important to stay as organic all the way down to the soil. So you're also going to want to get seed starting trays. So this specific one has compostable compartments in it. I preferred this because while the tray is plastic, I'm trying to cut down on my plastic usage. Unfortunately, this is just the most convenient thing for me to get. So it does have some plastic, but the actual cells are biodegradable. But the other nice thing with this is you can just rip them apart and plant them right into the soil when you're ready to move your plants outside. You don't have to worry about popping them out of the container that they're growing in. So there are other options out there where the cells are plastic. That's totally fine if that's something you want to purchase. They are going to be a little bit less expensive than doing the biodegradable, but that's a choice that you can make. So obviously, the other thing you're going to need is your seed packets, and then plant stakes. So these are plant label stakes. So these are things that we can put in each row so that I know what plant is growing there. And then you're going to want a bowl, because what you need to do with your seed starting mix is you want to make sure it's moistened before you put it into the cells, because that will help in the germination process. So I did want to show you guys real quick. This is a rudimentary drawing of the plans that I have for my vegetable garden. So on the, I always have to think about this. On the east side of my house, I have kind of just a blank slate. And so that's where I'm going to be building this vegetable garden. So I'm going to be building it, so wish me luck with that. But I did purchase the lumber already, so I'm super excited. It's going to be 12 inches deep, each of the beds. And I don't know if you can see on there, but that's kind of the shape that we're going for alongside the house. So my house would be this wall here, and then it does some different bed rows there as well. The next thing I wanted to walk you through is some of the seeds that I'll be growing, just so you guys can get an idea of what I am planning to put in my garden. So I will link some of the websites that I ordered seeds from. The MI Gardener, his name is Luke. He has a YouTube channel called the MI Gardener. He also owns a business out in Michigan, where I was able to purchase these seeds online from his store. So if you haven't checked out his channel, he has been doing YouTube channel videos on gardening for years. He's got a lot of great knowledge, so he would be a great one to check out. I also ordered seeds from Andrew's Seed Co. So if you're familiar with another YouTube channel who is probably one of my all-time favorites, her name is Laura, and her YouTube channel is Garden Answer. So she has a family, or her family owns a business out in the area that she lives in called Andrew's Seed Co. So I did order seeds from them as well. And then the other ones I did get from a local nursery here in the Minneapolis area. And it's brands that are pretty typical to see in any local nursery. So, all right, so I wanted to walk you through a couple different plants that I'm planning to grow this season. Hopefully it maybe gives you an idea of some different things that you could try. I will say that I have only actually grown a handful of these before, so I'm new to a lot of these, so we'll see how they go. I'm hoping that I have a green enough thumb that they last and produce produce for me. So to start off, I want to walk through a couple different herbs that I'm going to grow. So I'm going to be doing the Italian large leaf basil, oregano, and then lemon basil. I am going to do a couple different tomatoes, so Roma tomatoes and Chadwick cherry tomatoes. These don't have pictures, so I'll just say them, but snowball cauliflower and I think it's Waltham broccoli, rainbow carrots, golden summer zucchini squash, black beauty eggplant, crimson sweet watermelon, Ashley cucumber, the Lincoln pea, and celery. I am going to be growing a handful of, I forgot a tomato, Black Sea Man tomato. I'm going to be growing a few different peppers, so your typical California giant green pepper, big red bell pepper, the jalapeno pepper, and an ancho grande pepper. Then I'm going to be growing some different greens. So we've got butternut crunch lettuce, dwarf blue, Scotch collared kale, dwarf blue Scotch, I think it's curled kale, Paris Island romaine lettuce. And then I am going to be growing a few different fall crops. I shouldn't say fall crops, but things for the fall, mostly just for like decorative purposes. So a Big Mac's pumpkin, the traditional jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, a early yellow crooknet summer squash. I believe this is called sorghum. It's broom corn, so it's just kind of like it's like a tassely corn stalk without the corn, I guess. Then I'm gonna do Earth Tones Dent corn, so it's a multicolored corn. And then a winter squash delicata, I believe is how you pronounce that. So, and then lastly, I'm going to be doing some different annual and perennial flowering seeds. So again, most of these are just going to be for decorative purposes. The Mammoth Gray Stripe Sunflower, the Autumn Beauty Sunflower, Purple Coneflower Echinacea, Black Hollyhock. This one's actually like really cool. It has, I don't know if you can see it, but it has like these kind of dark, I would say like eggplant, plum, purple, like almost black flowers. So it's kind of a really unique plant. Joseph's Coat Amaranth. It's a nice red orange foliage. Bee Balm. This one I'm actually gonna probably grow indoors. It's a sensitive plant. So I'm sorry because I don't think these are focusing. So I'll try to list everything below the video as well. But a sensitive plant is really cool. It when you touch the leaves, so it's got kind of like, it looks like small palm leaves, and when you touch it with your finger, they close up like this, and then they'll open back up eventually, and then if you touch it again, so it keeps doing that. So it's kind of just a cool plant. I thought it would be cool to start from scratch. The showy milkweed. So milkweed is a really great plant if you're trying to bring in butterflies into your garden. One thing I will mention with milkweed, at least in my area, is don't expect it to last long when caterpillars start to eat off of it. They will eat it down to next to nothing. So not necessarily a plant you want to grow with the expectation that it's going to always be there to bloom all summer, let's say, but it's a great way to bring pollinators into your yard. And then the last thing is true lavender. All right, so in prepping the seed starting mix soil, pour some into a bowl, and then continue to add a little bit of water to it until you get it to a consistency where you can kind of form it into a ball like this. So as you can see, it stays pretty well put together. Give it a nice squeeze. You don't really want a lot of water dripping out of that ball. That'll mean that you have it too soggy, so just add a little bit more of the dry mix to it, and that will absorb the water. What you want to do then is start putting it into all of your cells, and then once you do that, you can start putting your seeds in. All right, my friends, it is filled. So while you're filling the cells with the seed starting mix, you want to make sure that you're compacting it down so there are no air pockets. And then just continue to fill across the whole tray until it's completely full. So one thing you want to do when you're planting your seeds in your pods is you want to do 2 to 3 seeds per pod. So the reason why you're doing that is because sometimes not all seeds will germinate. Or if they do all germinate, some of the plants might end up looking a little bit weaker than the other ones. So then what we'll do is called thinning. So then you thin out all plants but one, and you usually choose the one that is the strongest or performing the best. So go ahead and start planting those in the pods. We're going to start with this first row here, and I'm going to put a couple of each in each of the pods. And typically you want to push these down into the soil just enough that they're planted deep enough to be under some soil, and then just brush some of the soil over the top of the seeds. And then don't forget to label each of your rows with a label so you know what seeds are sprouting in each row. All of my cells planted. As you can see, I put in the markers as well. These come with a dome, so you want to make sure that you get a seed starting kit that has a dome like this. So this is going to help keep humidity and moisture within the seed starting tray. So what you want to do is find a place within your home that's going to get some natural light. If you don't have a great place for that, you certainly can supplement with artificial grow lights. So in my case, I do have a window that faces south on the front of my house, so the plants, the seeds should get a lot of natural light. I may still supplement with some different grow lights, but we'll see kind of what happens. The next thing that I want to point out is how to water. So you want to be careful when you're watering your seeds to not use like a watering can or something that you're pouring water over it, because that could dislodge the seeds and then they won't germinate properly. So I actually have one of these kind of pressurized sprayers that I keep in my plant room, and then what it does is it creates like a mist spray out of the nozzle here, so that I can water each cell with this and not dislodge the seeds. All right, so there you go. That is how you do seed starting. So as the weeks go on, days go on, I should say, you want to make sure that you're checking all of your trays, that the soil is remaining consistently moist, that there's no drying out in between. And then as they start to grow, the seeds start to grow, you'll eventually remove the dome because they'll get too tall for that. But then again, you just want to make sure that as they start to germinate, you are thinning them out, which I'll show you guys. I'll probably do a video on that a little bit later once they have germinated, to show you the process with that. And then, like I said, you just, once they grow to a certain height and the weather gets warm enough, you can start moving them outside. So you will have to do kind of what's called an acclimation period. So you'll have to bring them kind of in and out, inside and outside every day, just so they can get used to, because obviously it's warmer indoors right now with it being early spring than it is outside. So as you acclimate them, you don't want to leave them out there overnight, because there's potential for the temperatures to still be too cold for them and stunt their growth. So you acclimate them, and then you'll be able to plant them right into your garden, or if you're growing these in pots, that's another great way. If you don't have a full garden, a lot of these things like the tomatoes and the peppers, anything that grows up versus spreading, as far as produce goes, you can certainly grow in a pot on a patio or a deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like the video. Feel free to share this with friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. There's nothing better than having dirty hands like this. It makes me, or it reminds myself that I had a good day in the dirt, doing what I love. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty.